So this module is about the role of awareness, communication, and stakeholder engagement for the creation of innovation ecosystem for the bioeconomy. And what we will try to cover, not only in this module, but also in the other modules that will follow today and tomorrow, is why it is so important to communicate the bioeconomy and to involve the relevant stakeholders in order to drive the change. What we would like to do, and this is the reason why this capacity building is so, let's say, practical, especially from today and tomorrow afternoon, later on, is that we wanted to share the lesson learned. So what we did in different projects and what we learned. And then also to share with you some methodological approaches that we develop in transition to bio, building on this experience. Another interesting, let's say, element that we like, I hear a noise. I think that someone has the microphone open. Maybe you can double check if there is a microphone open. Okay. And then to provide you a buffet of ideas. So some ideas of what we did, but not only us in some projects like the project that you see below. This because in 2018 update of the bioeconomy strategy, there was a very strong focus on the awareness raising and what we really need to do in order to involve the population to be the change owner and the change drivers. But to do this and to promote this change, we of course need to tackle the different aspects. So the supply side, namely the primary production industry, biorefinery, the demand side, that are the consumers, the ones that vote with their wallet, with their choices, and then the multipliers. This is a dimension that we really believe that is key, and this is the reason why we have all of you here, that in one way or another you are multipliers. So the one that are the innovation ecosystem enablers, the one that really can push the stakeholders. And the supportive environment, this is what we said, we have seen before, so the policies, but also research and innovation and finance, of course. This because a challenge is the fact that we need to really increase the public awareness and knowledge in all the areas of the bioeconomy, and still is a challenge, despite all the energy and effort that several projects did up to now. And what is needed? First of all, to increase the awareness, knowledge, but also education, because if we want to drive a change, we need to educate and to change, especially the young generations. But we also have to identify what are the bottlenecks. So Zoritza also help us, but the bottlenecks are also perceived by the citizens, so and also the industries. What are the bottlenecks that we need to tackle in the research, in the coordination support action, or in the regional activities? And then we want to shorten the gap between the EU-funded projects, so namely the results, and the implementation of these results in the political and industrial agenda. So what we have learned should be used by the policymakers, but also the industries in order to design their future agendas. And of course, this is something that we really believe is very important, to put in the center of this change the civil society through a bottom-up participative process involving all the stakeholders, including the citizens. This is the phase that we still meet when we try to talk about the bioeconomy. So bio what? What is the bioeconomy? Although in the last year, I have to say, we are progressing towards the bio how. So when we go in large-scale event and consider that despite the COVID last year, we involved in transition to bio more than 20,000 people directly. And bio how mean also to ask us, but is really sustainable, is really a solution to tackle the objectives that are stated by the Green Deal, for instance, or in any case to fight the climate change. And then now we really assist to a behavioral and also mental mindset change, and they would like to be in the center of the change, through the Bio Act. And all these, let's say, 3 dimensions have been depicted or deployed in different activities that we as projects and initiative can undertake in order to drive this change. So we need to inspire them, providing examples, stories, and inspirational talks. We need to assess what are their needs, requirements, bottlenecks, worries. We need to inform and educate, and then engage. And finally, co-create the change, because a shared change is the only one that can be in really take place. Just I will conclude very quickly. Few lessons learned from some projects, for instance, from BioVoices. I don't want to go into detail, but you will find bioeconomy is still a complex concept. So if we communicate the bioeconomy, is very important to stay connected with sustainability or alternative to fossil-based, or the benefits for the society, the planet. And then, of course, it's not possible to just use one single channel, but rather to try to integrate several channels and to communicate finding the motivational contents and motivational drivers to speak with them. And going live is always easier, or at least to explore how we can use non-live, like today, channels to do the best. And so keep on exploring. We also tried to use and used successfully also Instagram, that is kind of underestimated, but is a powerful tool. And then, of course, and this is the reason why we are here, we always try to connect with other projects, other initiatives, large-scale events. And finally, support the students and multipliers to take a role, so to become the center of the change. These are some recommendations that we also extracted from the LIFT project, and I recommend you to go in the Bioeconomy library. Maybe Selenia, if you can put the link to this fact sheet of LIFT. They are very interesting because they analyze the different projects and initiatives that have been founded in the bioeconomy and provide recommendations. So, for instance, some interesting recommendation here is the fact that you need to be very concrete. You need to show something. This is the reason why some of you have seen the fact that we showcase bio-based product and we help the public to really touch what the bioeconomy is. And then we need also to provide concrete examples for the target beneficiary. A typical case is the case of the primary sector. They always ask, okay, but what is there for me? And therefore, you need to provide opportunities with some example of business models that they can use, and also to create connection with the other stakeholders. And the schools are very important. So the role of the teachers as multipliers, and the role of the ambassadors of the bioeconomy. Tomorrow I will show you some examples of this. For instance, we involved some influencers in Italy that have a very mature target audience, and we involve them, we equip them with the capacities, but also with the bio-based products, and we produced with them a series of TV short, 1 or 2 minutes, to be used in television and in social media. And with regards to the stakeholder engagement, that is the other dimension that we will touch today and tomorrow. Of course, as we already noticed this morning, if we want to really drive a change, we need to create an innovation ecosystem for the bioeconomy, and all dimensions are relevant, and all the stakeholders should be engaged. We need to promote bottom-up shared solution, because these are more likely to be accepted, and there is this sense of ownership that will really facilitate the adoption. Success stories and good practices are always a good way to communicate, to facilitate motivation, but also to inspire our audience. And we really recommend to always keep on working at different levels, so from very local to national and international. The question of transparency is something that Zorizza, for instance, highlighted. It's very important to be transparent and also to put on the table what are the potential dark side of the bioeconomy. For instance, in the recent event that we had with the large public, one of the main questions was, okay, but tomorrow we will be overwhelmed by the bioplastic rather than by the plastic. And this is a worry that we need to think about, and also to think about how to communicate and provide transparent messages. And okay, so I think there are some other, but you will be able to read them. So these are some of the projects in which we were involved in, and we can kind of share. We will share during the next presentation, and particularly during the presentation from Biocom, in which we will present the toolkits.